The Search. Happy is the people who belongs to the only one true God, which he makes all his promises comes true. Psalms chapter 144 verse 15, John chapter 17 verse 3, Isaiah chapter 55 verse 11. Paragraph 1. We live in a time of human history that is truly unique. As the Bible foretold, the true God is gathering a great crowd out of all nations and tribes and peoples and tongues. Those gathered constitute a mighty nation of happy people who are rendering God's sacred service day and night, as what it says in Revelation chapter 7 verse 9 and verse 15, also Isaiah chapter 60 verse 22. Never before have there been so many who have come to love both God and man. However, the question rises of what kind of love do these people of God cultivate in their daily life, so we can apply it also. That is, of this type of love isn't corrupted. The next paragraph will explain on how the Holy Bible gives a definition of what true love is. Paragraph 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 4 reads, Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous. It does not brag. Does not get puffed up. Verse 5. Does not behave indecently. Does not look for its own interest. Does not become provoked. It does not keep account of the injury. Verse 6. It does not rejoice over unrighteousness, but rejoice with the truth. Verse 7. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Verse 8. Love never fails. Paragraph 3. Have you heard the expression before? Mankind search for God? You can find the true God through his holy people. God's Son Jesus quoted this statement in this one scripture in John chapter 13 verse 35. By this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love among yourselves. Paragraph 4. Figuratively speaking, when you read the Holy Bible, you are then allowing the true God to speak to you. The Holy Scriptures is like God's journal. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 16 verse 17. Unlike a diary that is under lock and key, one scripture brings out that the true God is a God who reveals secrets. Daniel chapter 2 verse 28 reads, But there exists a God in the heavens who is a revealer of secrets or mysteries. Paragraph chapter 5. At 1 John chapter 4 verse 1, God speaks to us. Beloved ones, do not believe every inspired expression, but test the inspired expressions to see whether they originate with God, for many false prophets have gone out into the world. So we can test the inspired expressions found in John chapter 13 verse 35, so we can find the true identifying mark of love among God's people, because if we find God's holy people, then we find Him, thus ending the search for mankind's search for God. Paragraph 6. The Bible teaches us to look for the identifying mark of love to find God and His people of John 13 verse 35. The Bible does not teach us to use our own interpretation in order to find God and His people. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 20 reads, For you know this first, that no prophecy of Scripture springs from any private interpretation. People who search for God and His people often make this mistake, and that is looking for prophecy in Scripture of their own interpretation to aid them in their search for Him and His people. Paragraph 7. However, in 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1 says, "But know this, that in the last days critical times hard to deal with will be here." Verse 13 of that same book and chapter says, "But wicked men and impostors will advance from bad to worse, misleading and being misled." These particular scriptures demonstrate while these counterfeit religious authorities advance from bad to worse as time goes by in the last days, then God's true people, identifying mark of love, will shine out of a burst of light out of the darkness of these corrupted men around them, where everybody will realize the unity and peace of His people. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 18 brings out, "But the path of the righteous ones is like the bright light that is getting lighter and lighter until the day is firmly established. While the wicked get deeper in the last days, they will advance from bad to worse." 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 13. A true, clear identification of God's true people deep in the last days will soon be realized. Paragraph 8 says, "I hope this info as being considered as a guideline to be used as a recommendation and suggestion to help you search for the answers you guys are looking for in the search for the truth. And do not forget to visit the website jw.org for further information."